up, everybody? Welcome to the Mango Grove. My name is Krisha.
And my name is Sean, and there we go, Bitcoin.
Do you see the smile on his face? Do you see the smile on his face? He's been actively trading this entire... I've been sitting quiet, patiently waiting. He's been he waited so his patience actually paid off. Look at the freaking volatility, first of all. But he's been actively trading past couple of days. So I believe you took a trade here, right, today?
Yep, I've been building a long for the past 24 hours, actually.
What made you take that long?
Well...
like, holy crap, that's actually a good move.
Well, 8,500, you mentioned it a couple of days too, right? You were actually looking for it. No, actually a week ago you were looking for 8,500. So if you look at the daily 21 EMA, 2-day 21 EMA, everything was lining up with it. And I felt like everybody was also looking for continuation to the downside. And this reminded me so much of what happened when we broke out from the 3K, 4K region, pumped all the way to around 5.55K.
Yeah, 5.4, right? 5.5.
Everybody was beginning to either be too bullish or calling tops. And what happens? Neither, right? It wasn't, we weren't too bullish or we weren't at a top either. We got a pullback.
That's right.
Everybody got way too bearish. So
Yes.
This is it. This is a fake out. And we're going to dump further.
Yeah,
and it dumped to 4.8K. But what did you and I do? We started building that long. And it was the same thing, daily 21 EMA. Daily 21 EMA, dumped into it, had wicks way past it, kept doing it for a few days, grinded on it, and then went up, right? So this time, I was expecting it to play out faster. Because I learned from my mistake that happened all the way down here, right? And look at the shape of this, and look at the shape of this.
So what were you playing here? So 8.5K was the region, right? Is this a range trade or is this a trend trade? What is this for you?
So now, so for the past weeks now, I've been avoiding trend trades because of the halving, right? And you're seeing why. I've only been taking range trades. Let's say I was in a trend trade all the way from over here, right? I would have been in my trend trade over here too. Unlike your system, my system doesn't tell me to take profits as we go up.
Yeah, that's right.
I build my position as we go up. So I would have likely still been in my trade over here. And what would have happened to me that morning, right? I would have got dumped on, right? And this has happened to me in the past, leading into major events, right? I'm holding on to the trend.
Yeah.
And they say trade the trend, but this happens into major events. I do not like trading the trend anymore. I like to take range plays. And look at how simple this was, right? Guys, we were talking about this all weekend, right? Taking trades off these levels over here. I have a video where I broke down how I came up with these levels here, the top 3 levels. Very, very simple. I don't want to say simple, but it showed you guys how you can do it too, and we took trades off this.
Watch that video, by the way. For those of you who want to learn how to trade just based on horizontals, I'm going to link that above because that's a lot of value that he put into that. Watch that one if you want to learn that.
It's so
but you
funny.
also took that trade, right? You also took the short side as well.
Yeah, so I was taking only shorts in this over here. Why? Because we were against resistance, right? I said I'd love to take a long, but I'd be looking for long. If we break it 10,000.
Yeah.
Then retest it and look for range to 10,300, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, I explained my short positions before I took it on videos. Go ahead and watch that, guys. But what was very, very, very key, guys, was this horizontal over here, 9,580-ish. And look at the clean trade we got over here.
That was...
We closed the 4 hour. You could have taken this on the 4 hour, right? As you can see, this is the 4 hour time frame. But this was a daily close as well. If you switch to the daily, you're going to see that right there. We close a day underneath that level, a daily candle. And this was a very, very key level, guys, 9,600. So continuation was completely expected. Now, was I expecting a big move to the downside like this? Almost immediately, no.
Where did you take profits on that range trade?
So I actually did not capture this entire move at all. I took profits at around 9,300-ish, 9,250-ish, then 8,400-ish. I took profits. This was happening so fast.
Why did you scatter it? Was that a plan? Was that your plan to scatter it, or
yes.
Were you looking at were these like major levels?
So 8,000, I wanted to take profits right at 9,250 to 9,300 for sure, in case we did see a bounce and a retest of 9,600, right?
I see.
Right, so I basically was looking at this. So could you hit Control Z?
Yes, sir.
So I was looking at this level over here, and I marked that again in the videos prior. I was looking for possibly something like this.
Yeah.
And then over here again, I'd get to rebuild my position and play a nice downtrend, right? But the market didn't give us that. It just went through everything.
Yeah.
And here was a nice opportunity to take a long scalp. I did not get it because this happened so fast.
Was that a level there? The wick, the bottom of the wick?
That was the 2-day 21 EMA. So
shoot.
I was actually eyeing that, and all of this happened so fast, I did not react. I did not execute well enough. And the bounce happened to me while I was still in a short, and I ended up closing out the rest at 8,500-ish.
Okay. But for this one, where are you thinking of taking profits?
Daily 10 SMA, and I do have a take profit already over there. So that's why I was eyeing it. I think, no, we're not. It's at 9,180. I do believe.
Daily 10 SMA. Do you have your MAs
just
here?
at A, the first time.
Okay. There we go. Okay, yeah, wow. That actually lines up with the horizontal right there.
Yeah, so now here's the thing. The question is this a trend continuation? Or is this just a bounce to give everybody an opportunity to play the downtrend?
What are your thoughts on that? Because that's actually a very, very interesting question, because we did also close a weekly today.
Yeah, so that's what makes it very, very appetizing to play the downside on this.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at that, we closed the weekly underneath the Kijun. Okay, and again, this is why it reminds me so much of 5K. You know what? Zoom out to that spot where we broke out of 3K to 5K.
There we go. So that's this, right?
Look at those candles.
Yeah.
Right? We did something very, very similar.
Very similar.
We pretty much went sideways for 4 weeks. Nobody remembers that we went sideways for 4 weeks, really, because everybody's so excited during that time. But a lot of people were looking for a pullback down at least to the weekly 21 EMA, right? Do we get that over here? Maybe.
There was a lot of disbelief here. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
There was so much disbelief. Yeah. All the bears are like, no, this is going back down. 1.9K. Here we come.
And I'm beginning to understand where that disbelief comes from. If you're caught on the wrong side of the trade, or you're caught just waiting, it is very tempting to want it to come all the way back so you get a really good trade.
Yeah.
I went through that this time. So that time around, I caught the trend all the way from 3.8K, then we added at 4.8K, then not 5K, then again at we got the pullback down to the 6.6K. We got to add and play it the entire way, right? And throughout that time, we were seeing the disbelief throughout, right? This time, I was tempted to look for, you know what, Sean, do not long 8,500, wait for that pullback. Talking to a lot of people are waiting for further pullback. But when you look at just what's going on and look at these clear levels, you cannot not take a trade there if you are following a system. Right? You cannot not take a trade there. Now you can say, you know what, I'll reduce my position size because of halving, or I will not take a trend trade because of halving, and that's what I'm doing. But you can't not take a trade when you're coming down onto a key level, because you do not know.
Yeah.
You do not know whether this is going to be a pullback or a break in trend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I could be wrong about this, and we may see a pullback from here. We may see a rejection on that daily 10 SMA, and I don't care, right? In either case, I don't care whether one, we see an immediate rejection from here, or two, we see a rejection from 10 SMA, because that would be a good scenario where, because I've taken profits, I put on the trade because my rules told me to put on the trade.
Exactly. And so right now you're only trading the ranges, correct?
Yeah. So I'm looking to now start building a possible trend trade, a longer position, and I've been building this position over the past 24 hours. And when I say build, what I mean is I take profits. I've been taking profits of the 1 hour 21 EMA.
Okay.
Waiting for a pullback, adding more to my position, building while reducing risk.
And this is for your trend trade?
For a possible trend trade. I want to see how we react off the key 9,180 level. If we do break that, I want to see how we react to. It's marked over there, right? Right over there.
Yeah, this is the line, right?
Weekly,
okay, yeah.
So you can switch on over to the daily, right?
So but what made you pick that level primarily? Why 9,180 to start really, solidifying your trend trade?
Well, 9,180 lines up with a key horizontal over here to begin with. I want to see if this is going to be sold into. Okay. And this is not where I solidified the trend trade.
Okay.
It is only if we take out 9,500-ish, where I'll be like, okay, we are likely going to see continuation. And I think we're going to take out 10,000 at that point and go to 10,400, even higher. At that point, I'm going to be looking for 12K, to be honest. If we take out this region over here, and I planned this way ahead, right, of time. Like I think a week ago, I said, guys, the path of most pain at this point is going to be for the highs.
Yeah.
To 12,000.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, right, everybody's expecting post-halving dump.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody's expecting, it's either we go to 12K or we come all the way down to 6.4K. One of those two. I'm prepared for either or. I do not think we actually bounce at 7.7K.
So at what point would you say that, okay, chances are we're coming down? Because I mean, you're right. There's a lot of built up anticipation for a, incoming dump because of the halving, right? And people are usually kind of going back and looking at fractals of how price reacted, when we were in that halving period. And so what do you think is going to happen here? I mean, everyone's expecting it, yes, but at what point would you say that, okay, Bitcoin is maybe, I don't know, under so-and-so price level, chances are we're coming down?
I'm going to do what I always do. I'm not going to be looking for any particular price point. What I'm going to be looking for is a lower high, and that being confirmed with the normal techniques that we teach in seed program too, right? Yeah. So if we can actually, that's what I want to see what happens at this level. If it's an instant rejection, that's bearish, right?
Yeah.
But if we come up over here, then things get a little dicey for the bears. Yes. Because if this level is cleared, right, then I really don't think 10K is going to be an issue over here. I really do think we come all the way over here. However, if we wick into this region over here and get a hard rejection on the daily, that's when I'm going to feel really strong about a move at least down to around 8,000-ish again, and then possibly, honestly, somewhere around here, we may actually, I think we're going to take out everybody looking to take a trade at 7.7K. I think they're going to get wicked out.
Actually, you know what? Funny you say that, because the weekly, now we did close underneath the Kijun.
Yes.
Right? For me, frankly, I'll be looking for 12-hour closes below the 8.5K region, which is basically this line that you just drew.
Okay.
To see any sort of, to consider, further continuation to the downside. Now, everyone's looking at this weekly 21 EMA. Now, this is sitting at that 7.9K region, right? Do you think we can get down to the Tenkin here, like a proper C-span trade?
What's the Tenkin sitting at?
This Tenkin is sitting at, allow me to pull up that data window, and 7,175.
Okay, and what's the daily Kijun sitting at?
Daily Kijun. Let's put that on. Where are we? 6,962.
So yeah, I'm actually looking for a move down to the daily Kijun if we lose the daily Tenkin, to be honest.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm looking for that C-span trade.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that to play out. And if we do play this out, it's going to play out the weekly C-span too, right? It lines up.
But what does that mean then? Do you think that, we could have further downside from here, or we'll have to just wait and watch at how price reacts off of that level?
Well, if we get down to 7.2K, who's not to say we get a wick all the way down to retesting the monthly levels, right? If you switch on over to the monthly, we've been respecting the monthly levels more than anything. Hide the horizontals because it's a big mess.
There we go.
So look at that.
Yeah.
That was another reason why you'd want to take that 8,500 trade, right? The Tenkin is right there, 8,500. So if you think about the amount of support that we had at 8,500, monthly Tenkin, daily 21 EMA, we had daily Tenkin, so much around that area, it was criminal to not attempt to trade. And if you lose over there, you lose, right? We talked about, in fact, the first video I posted on trade setups, I lost, right? And I want to like show that off more than talking about only wins, because people get the idea that it's only about winning.
Yeah.
No, it's about taking the trade setup and then getting out immediately when you're wrong. Just get out, right? We were wrong on the way to the upside too. We thought we were going to go into a downtrend. We were clearly wrong, right? But were we willing to hold on to that idea that this is bearish? No, once we cleared 7.3K, 7.5K-ish, we switched our mindset, right? We started looking only for the upside.
Yeah.
Now, I did not get that trade I was looking for to pull back to 7.2K. You got your 7.7K trade, but it doesn't matter, right? What mattered was we're looking for upside because it flipped bullish at that point.
Okay, so right now, like, you're just kind of following your system with the range trades, and then as soon as your signal, you're also building the trend trade as well.
I'm building a trend trade until all of this. So think about it. This is also everything. So there's so much buzz around the big event of the halving. Like when Paul Tudor Jones' announcement, when his announcement on Bitcoin was released, do you think that was a coincidence that showed up just around the halving, just around the 10K position, right? Bitcoin sitting at around $10,000. Paul Tudor Jones suddenly announces that, hey, I'll be buying Bitcoin right next to the halving. It's like it's also geared towards sell the news.
Yeah.
Right? At the halving, before the Paul Tudor Jones news came out, I wasn't too sure about whether we were going to see a sell-off. But as soon as that came out, I'm like, okay, we are likely going to see a pullback. And another reason why I was so confident in taking my shots was the mango vine. This thing has been nailing it.
It actually nailed it on the 1 hour as well, I noticed.
The 1 hour bounce, right?
Yeah, the 1 hour bounce.
Yeah. But the 12 hour...
that was gold. And
again, the 12 hour vine has been... We know that all we have to do is follow every freaking call that this one makes. And it called what? The top?
Yeah.
And it called the bounce too.
Yep.
Right? I was waiting for this, right? A lot of people in the seed were looking at it around over here. I said, you got to be a little bit more patient for this. It's not giving a strong signal just yet. And it's starting getting stronger and stronger. And it's, what do you know, like today, it's been so powerful.
1 hour, 4 hour, and 12
hour. Right over here, call the bottom.
It's been absolute magic.
Call the bottom over here. Call the top over here. Right? It's been freaking golden. Where did flip long? Right over here. Right? Told you to take a long right over here. So look how it gave you literally every single trade. Call the short call the bounce over here, call the short over here too, call one short here, call another short over here. And this was another indication, Kusha, that we were on the wrong side we are beginning to be on the wrong side, right?
Yeah.
And I explained this in the Mango Vine videos for those who have access to it. You start seeing the signs of how the trade or the trend might be reversing, right? Because you keep getting shorter and shorter, not shorter, but your profits start withering away. Each trade gives you less and less profits, right? So you got a big win, a small win, and then what happens? Your wins start withering, and then the trend changes, boom.
And not just that, I mean, look at the structure. It was bullish. It was a bullish structure. We kept putting in these higher lows. So that was another thing that was very obvious, and a lot of people still kind of wanted to hang on to their bearish, conviction at the time. But
I was tempted too. That's why I feel like this experience gave me insight into what other people go through.
Yeah,
right,
definitely.
Because you're tempted, man. You're really like, if I was so tempted to be like, no, I'll get to buy again at 7,700.
Yeah.
The trade I was looking for at least 7.2. For example, you just mentioned weekly, right? You pulled on the weekly and you pulled on the Kijun and you said, hey, we might get that 7.2K trade, that C-SPAN trade, right? You just mentioned that. It was going through my head too. I was tempted. If you do remember, this was the first trade I was looking for. Apologies. Yeah. This was the first trade I was looking for. When we had this break, I'm like, I'm going to be patient. And I'm going to wait for a pull back down to 7.2K. Why? Because I'm being conservative, because it's the halving, blah, blah, blah. I never got it. So that gets stuck in your head and you want that position.
Yeah.
Right? But I had to fight that. I had to fight that psychologically. No, there's so much over here, Sean. You cannot ignore this. You have the daily 21, daily 10K, 200 moving average on the daily right over there too. Switch on to the 2-day time frame. What do you have? Right over there, 2-day 21, 2-day 10K, 2-day 200 moving average, 2-day 10 SMA. You have so much in this region. If we break this, okay, we can even close a 4 hour underneath these levels over here, then I know, okay, you know what? We're likely going to come down. But try the trade first. If you're wrong, you're wrong, right? And I think that's a big problem with a lot of traders. Are not willing to be wrong.
Yeah. But let's focus on the fundamental side as well. So right now, I mean, I still do believe personally that technicals are looking, relatively strong on the more kind of midterm time frames. If you go onto the weekly, however, I mean, we'll have to see where this closes, like you said. We'll have to see what levels this takes out in order to see further continuation, right? If there is further continuation to be had. But let's actually look at the fundamental side. Now we have the halving.
So good.
Right.
I mean, look at this weekly. It does remind me of what happened at 5K. And you're talking about the halving too. Anyways, go on.
The 5K, although one thing about the 5K region that we'll have to note here is that the structure here on the weekly changed. We had these, higher lows, ripped up, made another low here, ripped up further. So there was like an established sort of, uptrend.
So how do you not know that we just put in the higher low there?
I mean, yeah,
that could be the higher low, right?
I mean, so that's the thing. We'll have to see how this kind of pans out. There has to be more kind of added to it. Yeah. So that's one thing, though, that was going for the 5K region there. But coming back to, the fundamental side, now the halving is tomorrow, right?
Is it? See, I'm actually trying to forget.
But okay, so yes, the halving is tomorrow.
Okay.
And I think that's bullish. Right, for the future of Bitcoin, the long-term future of Bitcoin.
$100,000.
So
Bitcoin.
we have.
It's gonna happen.
He's already planned it. He's got it on his board. $100,000 Bitcoin. That's the goal, right, Sean?
Yeah.
But okay, so I think long-term halving is bullish.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the news that you just spoke about was Paul Tudor Jones, right? Bought into Bitcoin. Now, first of all, before we kind of get ahead of there, do you want to give the people, a good kind of introduction on who Paul Tudor Jones is?
I mean, I don't think people need an introduction on who Paul Tudor Jones is. For those of you who don't know, he's a legendary investor. What's important to know about Paul Tudor Jones is that he's highly respected in the hedge fund space. I would actually say that Paul Tudor Jones, speaking out on the fact that he's going to be buying Bitcoin, is more bullish than the halving. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that. Guys, I am very bullish on the halving too long term. In fact, I'm not as bullish on this halving as I'm on the next halving, all right, 2024. That is going to be the halving for me.
Why do you say that?
Do you want to come back to the question? Or
okay, yeah. So come back to that.
We'll come back to that. That is actually a good question. But I'm very bullish on the next halving. Paul Tudor Jones, however, he is adding to this space what this space sorely needed, which was validity.
Yeah.
Endorsement, and the fact, you guys need to understand that there's going to be a lot of hedge fund money that was a little bit hesitant to enter crypto just because they were shy / embarrassed to announce it, right? They are all thinking because they're looking at the yield, they're looking at the returns that is possible over here, but they don't want to be that manager. They don't want to be that crypto hedge fund manager. There's so many people I talk to who are embarrassed to admit to the world that they trade Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, right? Remember when we were having that conversation with Frank too at Rohan's wedding?
Yes.
He's like, imagine telling people that I trade cryptocurrencies for a living, right? And it's happening even to us. Imagine what kind of mindset those guys or kind of stigma they have to deal with, right?
Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. So now Paul Tudor Jones stepping in and saying, hey, I'm buying this.
Yeah.
This is good. This is a really good hedge against inflation. It adds the validity to the notion of, hey, you know what? I want to have a hedge against inflation to protect my investors in my portfolio, right? So I'm going to have a small portion of our portfolio, maybe 3%, maybe 5%. But you guys need to understand that 3% to 5% of their money is a lot. And the Bitcoin market, the cryptocurrency market, is so tiny, guys. We are only $182 billion compared to gold, which is I think $9.8 trillion, right? There's so much room to grow. We feel like Bitcoin's at high prices, right? We feel like it's at a high price because of the big numbers, but man, the splash that these guys can cause is, I don't think we fully appreciate it just yet, right? So when Paul Tudor Jones comes in and gives Bitcoin that kind of validity, it to me, that's more bullish than even the halving, right? Because people aren't going to be as hesitant to give it a chance. Because fundamentals, guys, they don't matter as much as the initial narrative to get people to look into the fundamentals. Yeah, understand that.
And so also go back to what you said about why do you think the second halving is going to be, you're going to look at that as the most bullish event?
Put simply, at that point, 2024, Bitcoin will become the world's hardest asset.
Okay, That makes a lot of sense. But now tell them, what do you mean by hard? Because that is a financial term.
Okay, cool.
Listen to this, guys.
So I'm going to try to explain this as simply as I can. Okay. To explain this simply, let's start with gold.
Okay.
Gold is considered as an inflation hedge. You agree?
Yes.
Right? Why is it considered as an inflation hedge?
Because you cannot print the living hell out of it. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But essentially, another way of saying gold is a good inflation hedge is because you can't just produce as much as you want.
Yes.
Whenever you want, right?
Yeah.
There's a difficulty associated to producing it.
Yes.
Unlike fiat, you can't just say, hey, so-and-so corporations need trillions of dollars. I'm going to produce trillions of gold for you corporations, right? You can't do that with gold the way you can do that with fiat. So people have that security in knowing that there is a lot of difficulty in producing the amount of gold. Needed. Okay.
Yeah.
So currently, the amount of gold that can be produced, okay, that flows into the supply of gold currently, right, is very, very low. So the supply, known as the stock, okay, and the amount produced from the gold mines is the flow.
Okay, so this is the new gold coming in.
Yeah, the flow is the new gold coming in, guys.
Okay.
The stock is the amount of gold that is currently available in the world. Okay, so that stock to flow ratio, you guys may have heard of this term before and must have maybe confused you. That stock to flow ratio is very, very high.
Okay.
Why? Because the amount of supply compared to amount coming in is very, 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 the supply is low. The flow is low and the supply is high.
Okay.
So if you divide the two, that's your ratio, you get a high number. Very, very high number. This number is currently sitting at 50.
All right.
Okay. So that 50 currently is the hardest in the world. Okay. Gold's stock to flow ratio. Okay. So the amount flowing in compared to the supply is the hardest in the world. It's 50.
Okay. So is it that the higher the number, the
harder the asset?
Harder the asset. Okay,
exactly.
Cool.
Right. So another way of thinking about it is think about I know people used to trade Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something like that, or Pokemon.
Okay, yeah, Pokemon.
Right? Pokemon. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Pokemon's good.
Right? If a certain Pokemon is very, very hard to find, especially when people playing that virtual Pokemon, right? That would be probably worth a lot more.
Yeah.
But let's say everyone could find it suddenly, right? Every corner you could go and you'll find it, right? Suddenly that Pokemon's not valued as much, right?
Yeah.
So if it's easily producible, it's not valuable, right? Why? Because it's current. Let's say there's 100 Pokemon available, right? But only one new Pokemon can be found every 10 years. That will have a very, very high stock to flow ratio. Why? Because 100 Pokemon and only one is coming in every 10 years.
Yeah.
But let's say you have 100 Pokemon, but 100 is coming in every 1 year.
Yeah.
Now suddenly stock to flow ratio is 1. It's very, very low.
It's very low.
Okay, so gold stock to flow ratio is 50.
Okay.
Because compared to how much there is, very little is coming in at a time. So people have faith in the fact that the amount of gold that there is today won't get inflated. There's only so much. It is scarce, right?
Yeah.
It is scarce, and its scarcity, right, stays relatively scarce because it's very hard to go get new gold. Okay, that's your stock to flow ratio.
So that's at 50. Okay.
50, hardest in the world. Bitcoin, as of this halving, this halving is going to match gold. Okay, remember guys, stock to flow ratio. In Bitcoin's case, the amount of stock is the amount of Bitcoin currently in the world circulating. The flow is the amount of new Bitcoin coming in. That's from your miners. Okay, so the new Bitcoin that the miners mint, that is the flow of Bitcoin. So the stock to flow ratio is going to turn to 50. Why? Because the miners are going to now mint or flow in half of what they used to. This number underneath is going to reduce, making the overall number, right, the fraction higher, right? It's going to double the number, right? If this reduces by half, this is going to double, right? The overall number is going to double. So it's going to match gold.
Okay.
As of this halving.
I see where this is going. Yes.
As of the next halving, what's going to happen, guys?
It's going to
double again.
So it's going to be 100, which is going to be the highest
the world has ever seen. The world has never ever seen an asset at a hardness of 100.
That is insane.
All right?
That's pretty bullish. That is
the hardest asset the world has ever seen. Ever.
He really wants to stress that, like ever. But no, that's actually really, really interesting. That's going to be so bullish. Okay, now I get why.
So now you combine that with the idea that Paul Tudor Jones is now drawing in a lot of attention. By the way, Paul Tudor Jones also was a major part of the gold run back in the 1970s. Right. So he's known already for taking advantage of an asset much like Bitcoin,
yes.
which is gold. Okay, yeah. And he said it himself that Bitcoin currently reminds him of gold in 1970s, right?
Wow.
So you're beginning to see a lot of people. There are a lot of people don't. You guys who are in the crypto world probably are listening to me talk about stock to flow and be like, oh, he's so boring. I know all of this. But there are a lot of people out there who don't know this, guys. They don't have any idea, right? They don't understand what is so valuable about Bitcoin to begin with. Oh, it's internet magic, money, blah, blah, blah. They can just print as much as they want. There's this Bitcoin Cash. They just printed so much more Bitcoin. Oh, there's this Ripple. It's another type of Bitcoin. They don't understand it. But it doesn't take long, maybe a couple of weeks of just sitting down, going into the rabbit hole and your mind going, right? And the more you study about money, the more you study about monetary history, you will realize that the fiat is the anomaly over here.
Yeah.
Right? Fiat is people think, oh man, Bitcoin is the experiment or going to a gold standard is the experiment. No, fiat is the experiment. Okay. This entire system that we are on right now, it is one giant experiment that we don't feel that is an experiment because we are a part of it, right? We've only known it our entire lives.
Exactly. We're kind of born into the system. I feel like this experiment they keep trying to redefine the boundaries every year with every crisis.
Do you guys realize, okay, and this is something else people don't know. Firstly, people don't fully know that, and now people know because of COVID and the money printing. Mm-hmm. Now people are beginning to realize it more, that USD is backed by nothing. It's not backed by gold. People thought that USD was still backed by gold for the longest time.
Yes.
Okay, at least up until a couple of years ago. What people don't realize is that in 1970, up until 1970, USD was still backed by gold until Nixon came and took out that pegging.
Yes.
Right? So now maybe some of you know that. Okay, maybe you guys know, yeah, I knew it was backed by gold up until the 1970s. But did you know that when Nixon took out the pegging with USD, he forced the rest of the world to go onto a fiat standard as well?
Yeah.
He took out their pegging as well because every other currency was pegged to the USD.
To the USD, that's right.
So the whole world, up until like freaking 1970s, which was 50 years ago, was still on the gold standard. So this is the experiment that is failing. When I say this, it's fiat, in my opinion. Fiat has always failed in the history of time. So
now, speaking of Paul Tudor Jones, I mean that's big news, guys. Okay, he's not a nobody. He's one of the biggest, baddest investors out there. Very, very successful. So we've seen him jump on board the Bitcoin ship. Mm-hmm. However, there are still big investors out there that are.
My take profit is.
Oh, nice. Yes, look at that move. Wow. 200 MA, 1 hour.
On the daily. That's awesome. Daily 10 SMA.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oopsies.
Wow, that happened really fast.
Yeah, I did not expect it.
That happened very, very fast.
So you noticed, sorry, apologies. We noticed like everything's been happening a lot faster. That's one of the things I've had to adjust, right? With the most recent price action. Everything's been happening way faster than we could expect, right? So there we go. So now let's see what happens from here. Let's see where the daily closes. Yeah, looking
good trade, Sean. Yeah. Good trade. Look at
I've been in sync, in the zone recently. But hey, guys, even when you're in the zone, it doesn't mean that you're only winning trades. I do want to clarify on that. Being in the zone doesn't mean that you're winning every single trade. It means that you are in the zone as to when you're right about your trade, when you're even wrong about your trade, and being able to get out of your trade, etc. Just last night, I took a loss on XTZ, right? I was sitting here, and Krisha and I actually had to go down to pick up something. And I'm like, Krisha, I just got to wait 4 more minutes and I'm going to be getting out of this trade. I'll be taking a loss and getting out, right? Let's pull up that XTZ chart. I posted this in the seed chat too. It was, oh my god, holy crap.
And which really, it's so freaking weird, guys, because I mean, off late we've been barely going out because of the situation and stuff.
But wait, let me don't interrupt. So right over here, I basically was looking for a trade over here, and as soon as we closed, I was looking for continuation play, right? And I bought long here, looking for upside, and when it took out this wick over here, I actually added to my position. And what happens right after? We get dumped on and close underneath, right?
Yeah.
As soon as we close underneath this horizontal over here, I just dump my position. What happens right after that? Whoop. So
crazy.
This is also you being in the zone by not having the mental clarity to get out of your position.
Exactly.
Right. So I take losses, guys. I take losses. Again, going back to BTC too. Over here, the first trade I was looking for a short position. Right. I took a short right over here along this region over here on the 1 hour time frame, and I was wrong on that. Right. Was it here that I took the first loss? Anyways, I took a loss, took a win. Then again, took the XTZ loss, and then win. I just want to show that's not only wins, guys. It's losses, wins. But it's about keeping those losses very, very small, right?
Yeah.
And letting the winners ride, right? Letting your winners be way more or significantly more, depending on the probability of the trade. Remember what we talk about in the C program? It's the combination of your win magnitude along with your probability. People make it out to seem that it's only your win rate that matters. Yeah. Win rate plus win magnitude.
The magnitude is very important, I feel. Yeah. I feel like the magnitude is the most important. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm a trend trader, right? Yeah. I am okay. Very important. I am okay losing. I'm okay losing 60% of the time. What I mean by that is I'm okay having a win rate of only 40% when I'm catching the big trend trades that I do, right? That I usually catch. So when I'm looking for range trades, right? I want that probability to be more on my side. I want to win more often because usually the ranges you're playing only from here to here or from here to here. Like when I'm taking my profit sooner, it better be a good trade. You don't want to be having a small win, right? And the probability of that win happening is very, very low. You don't want that. You do not want that, guys. Do not. That's how traders lose money, when they're trying to get these small wins, but the chance of that win is very, very, very small. Like, you don't want that. Okay. So,
yeah.
Again.
So you also went over XTZ just now. Is there any other coin that you've been playing? I know were you in Link?
Yes, we are still in Link.
Okay, so let's get on to Link. Now, we both took this trade, right?
I'm still in this though. Are you in yours?
Yes. I did take my profits. I did take about 60% of my profits.
I'm not going to be taking profits.
And yeah, I'm riding the rest.
I've already taken my profits, right? So I'm not going to be taking any more profits. I took profits right over here. And when we first came and tested the 21 EMA and Tenkin, right? It was like a bunch. It was like thingy like that. And I clearly...
Get onto the weekly, actually, because now this is what both of us saw was this beautiful weekly trend line. Oh, why did you get rid of it? Okay, no, you didn't. He just... There we go. Right, so there's this beautiful trend line, going up on Chainlink BTC. So it was a trend line in combination with a horizontal, once again, on those higher time frames. And we said, okay, now what makes a trade a good trade? Just knowing that you can manage it and it's an easy trade to manage. If you are wrong, you know you're wrong very, very fast. And I don't know about you, but I feel like Link is very generous.
Oh, Link is so good.
Link
so
is
good.
So generous,
such a beautiful...
Like, even if it loses its level and you're wrong, like, it usually, more often than not, give you that retest, be like, okay, here you go, you can get out now. So Link is very, very good, in that regard. And so, yeah, I think we both took this trade. At least I took it off of the diagonal as well as the horizontal on the weekly. Was there anything else besides this that you were looking at?
No, it was pretty much that. We were looking at this as a massive ascending triangle prior to, right? Let's go ahead and let's use this tool here, right? You can see something like this. Not use this tool much. There you go. Right. So I was looking at a retest of this region over here that I missed out on. And then when you use that as a pivot point, that's when you get the diagonal, and then you turn off everything. You're going to see that we came wicked right onto it, and boom. Right. So
Yeah.
So really good.
And notice how the weekly closed. The weekly closed over the 10 SMA. And let's see. This is looking bullish right now. Like, look at that candle. It's a beautiful, beautiful
closed
candle.
over the Tenkin too, right? We talked about this on our last duo video. Or was it on my video with you guys alone, where I talked about how we'll be looking for whether Link can again close over the Tenkin, and it did, right? So
like, that was a beautiful candle. So we at one point midweek we had lost the 21 EMA as well. Now that last past couple of days, it's been freaking trudging up like insane, right? Took back the 21 Tenkin and 10 SMA only to freaking close above. This is looking really good. What are your what's your kind of view on alts right now? Do you think we're heading into like a mini alt rally of sorts? Because a lot of alts are actually looking very good.
Yeah, they are, to be honest. I've been looking at all, like, clearly I've been taking trades on XTZ, Link. I tried a trade on Ethereum too, by the way, where I got hunted and I took a loss on that as well. I'm going to talk about my losses more, guys, because I don't want you guys, especially recently, since I've been posting these Bitcoin trades, the trade setups, I don't want people to use those videos as trade signals, right? What's happened is now I've had a few wins in a row, and that may cause people to start trying to copy the trades. And it's human tendency to do that, right? But I do want you guys to know that I do take losses. But I get out quickly, right? And I have no shame in taking a loss. And as long as you check your ego at the door, you will do the same. You'll just take the loss and get out, right? Thesis, take the trade. Thesis invalidated, get out. Period.
Do you use anything? Is it like a mental note that you make to yourself that this is my thesis, this is where I'm wrong at? And, or do you actually have some sort of...
We used to, right? So in the beginning, guys, you want to have a trading journal, right? You want to note everything down.
These are tips. Yeah. Tips, all tips.
So you can go onto the Mango website. We do have a link to a trading journal that many of the Mango seed people use. And it'll be really helpful in calculating all your win rate, etc., etc. It really keeps you organized and lets you see where you need to improve, where you're struggling, etc. Right? So in the beginning, I used to journal everything. Right? We used to like write down a thesis, when are we wrong, what time frame, etc. Right? Now it is more. It just comes to me naturally. I don't need to do it as much. Every now and then, I still go ahead and write things down when I'm taking many positions, but I don't take as many positions anymore. I don't think I ever will. Like I did that for a bit. It was too stressful. It wasn't the Mango way. I'd rather just take bigger sizes on a few positions and wait for the right trades. So I don't journal things as much as I used to. I'm not saying that's a good idea. Whenever I do want to improve, that's when I start journaling again. I reflect a lot though. I sit down and reflect, and I've been trying to improve a certain thing, right? Recently in my trading behavior that I've been improving on, you guys are seeing it, in that I'm trying to trade both directions at the right time.
Yes.
Because one of my weaknesses has been that if I get a good trade towards the downside or the upside, and I know there's a good trade in the opposite direction, I tend to just sit back and I let it unfold, missing out on that opportunity.
That's right.
Right? I'm getting a good read on the market all the way to a key level. I know, okay, you know what? I should take my profits here. Okay. And now when I see the triggers that, you know what, I'm getting out of the trend completely, I also see the triggers to get into the downtrend play, but I don't. And the reverse is true if I'm taking profits towards downside and then taking the upside move. I don't take the upside move. This time I fixed that in my Chainlink trade where I took the downside short on Link BTC and I took the long too.
Yeah, that's
right. And this is one of the first times where I'm pulling it off as well as I did. Okay, and again I did it. I'm getting the confidence to do it more often, or rather I'm slapping myself and telling myself, Sean, take the trade, right? With Bitcoin, I took the downside move, right, from 9,600 breakdown all the way down to around 8,500-ish. Took profits before that too. So I wouldn't say 8,500 on average, higher. But I took the 8,500 bounce up now to 9,181.
Do you find it easy to keep track of your mistakes?
It's usually
or
it's
like,
the same trade,
your
right?
reflections rather.
No. I'm probably, to be honest, no. I'm probably making more mistakes that I'm ignoring for now. What I'm doing is I'm focusing on one key weakness at a time and trying to fix that.
That's a good way to do it, actually.
I don't know if it's a good way to do it. It's how I'm doing it.
Because I don't know, when you crowd yourself with too much that you want to change about your trading style, you don't end up really focusing on anything, and it's just all over the place. And then I don't know about you guys, or even you for that matter, I get overwhelmed when I have to, tackle everything all at once. So I usually kind of work on each thing, one thing at a time. Yeah. But is there anything else besides Chainlink and Bitcoin and XDZ that you're playing? Any other altcoins that you're looking at?
No, I was looking at Ethereum. Like I said, I got out of that trade, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So I'm going to be looking to play Bitcoin and Link more aggressively, because I feel like I have a better. I'm not getting good trades on, like, I did not get the XCZ trade that you got. Ethereum, I've not been able to get. On the BTC trade, specifically, I've not been catching good wins on that either. So just gonna.
That has been, it's been finicky. But okay, Bitcoin USD. Any closing remarks, Sean?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so this is all we have for you, the TA and the little thing of stock flow fundamentals, the halving. Sean thinks that the second halving is going to be bullish, as Bitcoin is going to be the hardest asset. Yes, hardest asset the world has ever seen. So no, this is all like really, really cool things to consider. Let us know what you guys think. What are your thoughts? Is Bitcoin going to go up from here or go down from here, leading into, well, the halving is tomorrow. So what are your thoughts? Let us know. Comments below. And with that, guys, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way, guys. Ciao.